Over 2 decades ago, I stepped into 24-hour fitness in Oceanside, California, after I was leaving the Marine Corps just to get a gym membership. And I was asked if I wanted to be a personal trainer. And I said, yeah, I want to do it. I can show people how to work out. And I went right into it. I was a 21-year-old kid, a little bit cocky. And, I got into it right away and just felt like after 3 years in the industry that I had it all figured out and I knew exactly what was going on. And I was getting great results from my clients, don't get me wrong, but I didn't know how much I didn't know at that point. So, I've trained over 1,000 people to this point. I've lost count, but today I'm going to be sharing 6 things that I wish I knew as a trainer 20 years ago and how that shaped my life. So, thanks for joining today. My name is Rod Stanley, owner of Ritual Health and Fitness. And I've created a company that's aimed at helping any adult, but primarily 35 to 75 years old is a primary age group I target. And I create customized, individualized fitness programs that's aimed to help you feel better, increase your strength, increase your mobility, and more importantly, your longevity at living life at its fullest for as long as you possibly can. So if you're someone who's looking for help with that, then you're in the right place. Uh, so today I'm going to be pulling the curtain back a little bit on my life as a personal trainer and how different things have shaped me and why I've arrived at the philosophy that I have today as a personal trainer because it has evolved. As I mentioned, I've been training for over 2 decades and I started when I was 21. And at that age, you're so inexperienced with life in general, you really don't have a clue about what you don't know. And the industry of health and fitness is always evolving, and there's always new things to learn, always new strategies, new exercises, new motivational techniques, and all of these different things. And I had to evolve as a person myself. And this this talk today is just to share some of that with you in the hopes that it inspires you to take action. At the end of the day, everything I'm doing is about inspiring you to take action and valuing yourself enough to include exercise in one of your daily rituals. So, first up, I want to get right to it. The first lesson that I learned was when I first started, I thought fitness was all about just how you look and just in, looking better. And for those of you who know me, I started did compete in bodybuilding 3 times in 2007, 2008, and 2010. And I've always been a natural bodybuilder, and I really take pride in that. But I really got into it, and it was all about helping myself look the very best that I could, as well as helping my clients look the very best that they could. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, that's why most people get into working out in the first place. They want to look better, lose fat, gain muscle, get more confidence about their body. So it's a great way to start. But I've evolved in the way that I approach fitness for a number of reasons, and none of them more important than the first reason of when I turned 40 years old. I as a young trainer, my clients were most of them were in their late 30s, early 40s, and I was 22 years old. As I mentioned, I didn't know anything about life and what to expect, and what the things that they were going through and the things that they were experiencing. So in 2019, I turned 40 years old, and I was new to the state of Oregon. That was the first year I moved here, and this was the first time I ever contemplated my mortality on a real serious level. Up until that point in my life, I've always, felt good, been in great shape, never really had any major illnesses or anything like that. Um, but once 40 came around, I don't know if it was just the age or just timing, but I had a whole host of things that went wrong in my life. So one of them was, I lost weight unintentionally about 40 pounds. So much so that I can remember looking in the mirror one night when the scale read 176, and I pulled my pants away from my body, and they were about 5 sizes too big. And that's when I knew something was seriously going on. Throughout that process, I had a bunch of malabsorption. My body wasn't absorbing nutrients well. I was on the back end of being a vegan at the time, During that year, I had a sprained ankle on my left foot. Then I had a meniscus injury on the left knee. Some osteoarthritis was starting to stem up and show its ugly head at that point. Then I had the same left hip, a labral tear in the left hip. Then my left shoulder was starting to act up, and then it started to move to my right shoulder. And then I later got a hip flexor strain on the right side. And this was so bad at one point where my wife was having to help me out of bed. I just had no energy, but throughout this process, I was still going to work and being motivated to train my clients. Of course, the pandemic hits in 2020. Again, this is my first year here in Oregon. Um, so that hit. I'm losing weight, not feeling great. Still going to work. Then the gyms closed down, so I had to go to Costco to try to make a living and make ends meet for a while. So I certainly didn't anticipate, being at Costco working. And while I was working there, I was doing a job where I was throwing dog food in the middle of the night. So these 40, 50-pound bags of dog food. So just this repetitive movement of throwing dog food around. And then they had these big laundry detergents. So, I would have to grab these things because we're stacking them. So I would grab them like this. And, so a lot of moving things this way. And after a few months of that, I started to develop some arthritis here in both knuckle joints and my thumb. So my body's literally falling apart. And as I said, this was the first time I really contemplated my mortality and looked at it very seriously. And I knew then that I had to really do something and take ownership of my own health, my own life, and I had to get it turned around. So I went into a whole host of things from, incorporating yoga and meditation and breathing and working on building my body from the foot all the way up to the shoulder. So working on mobility, strength, body weight exercises. This was the first time I went to the gym and I felt like every time I lifted and went to do something, my body was just going to fall apart. Like I just couldn't lift heavy or something else would hurt. So this was the first time in my life that I felt, man, I just don't have it. And to really sit in that, that's what really gave me the understanding what it's like to be in a state where you feel like hope may be lost when it comes to your health and fitness. Like if you've been sick for a long period of time, or if you've had a disease that's you're going back and forth to the doctors for, I can really empathize. I'm not saying I went through the same thing you had, but I understand now at a deeper level what it feels like to not feel great. And that is when I decided to start my company, Ritual Health and Fitness, because during this process, I had to build my body back up from the ground up, literally. And is that desire, that experience now gave me the desire to create a company that gives people the opportunity to take ownership of their health and fitness from, and just, get themselves in the best shape of their life. So that experience, I wish I would have known earlier that how important, uh, decreasing the mortality risk and what that's like to be in a state of despair and feeling like things are lost, hope is lost. I certainly would have approached my clients in a different way. But needless to say, life is our greatest teacher, and I've learned that lesson now. So that's lesson one: is that to me, working out is not just about your physical body, although that's a great part of it. It also starts with on the inside and taking ownership of your health and fitness. So lesson one. So yeah, man. Next up is lesson two. Now this one just comes right from lesson one. Just the importance of having true empathy when it comes to my clients and being patient with them. That's a lot of my clients when they come to me these days, they're surprised that I'm really patient with them and that I'm not, jumping on them and yelling at them when they don't follow their nutrition plan or things like that. And the reason why I'm not that way anymore because when you have felt like crap and you know what it's like to have life coming at you from all these different angles, because throughout this process of not feeling great, I still had to go to work. I still had to be positive for my clients and uplift them even though I didn't feel great. I still had to be a good father the best I could in the midst of not feeling great, or be a good husband, or none of these things stopped while I wasn't feeling great. So this experience allowed me the opportunity to take a look at my clients on an individual level and realize I got to meet these people where they are and have some empathy for their current situation. When I was in my 20s, I didn't want to hear it at all. And there's a fine balance between pushing someone and also being empathetic to their current situation. So it's about having the emotional and the awareness and the situational awareness to know when to push and when to pull on someone. But I remember wanting to fire all of my clients because they weren't following my plan. And how dare you not follow my plan, right? I'm me. I'm Rod, the personal trainer. You have to follow this plan. If you don't, I wanted to get rid of them. And fast forward 20 years later, I didn't realize how much of a egotistical maniac that was, of not looking at these people and their individual lifestyles and the stresses that come along with being 35, 40, with kids in high school, kids graduating, parents being sick, all these different things. I didn't have those responsibilities as a young trainer. So if you're working with, a young trainer who might be, pushing you, and, just know that they don't have that type of experience yet. And as a young trainer, you don't even know what you don't know. So it's definitely been a learning experience, and learning how to be empathetic and to understand that people are just going through things. And at the end of the day, we're all trying our very best to be our very best with what life gives us at the moment. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and we just do our best to make lemonade out of it. And that's what I'm here to do, to help people find those things in their life that they want to achieve, and I do my best to help them create that life that they dream of within the lifestyle that they're currently living. So that can be the challenge. So the lesson two is just having more empathy and understanding where people are in their current situation. And that leads me to lesson three, which is the importance of customizing an individual fitness program for each client. Now, this is an important one because, I was talking to someone last week. So, those of you who've been following me, you know that I'm getting ready to move to a new facility here, and it doesn't have a lot of machines. And one of the dudes who owns a gym that I've been renting space for was talking to one of my clients and telling her how, it's not going to work out. There's no machines there. It's just not going to work out. And my answer to that is, our body is the best machine ever created. There's no machine that's more sophisticated, that's more adaptable, that's more highly intelligent than our bodies. So why don't we learn how to use those to the highest level possible? And that's where customization comes in, is because everyone has a body, and we should learn how to use it very effectively. You know, one of the things that is surprising to me is that we all go through so much schooling, and yet I could ask my average client, where's your kidney? What does it do? What does your liver do? And we're so clueless on all these things, but we can say, stats from, Steph Curry's stats, or how many threes he's made. And, especially us guys, we can quote so many crazy stats about this and that, but, we don't even know our own body stats. And that's sad. And that's one of the things about customization, and what I do, and what I do is educate my clients on their bodies, because I think that's important. So back to back to the machines. So when I was an early trainer, I used to use a lot of machines and throw in some filler exercises in between, like burpees, or jumping jacks, to keep people's heart rate up. And these exercises, these workouts were effective. I was getting people results. However, it probably wasn't the most effective thing for all of my clients. And due to my lack of experience, and due to my lack of comfortability with being able to adapt on the fly, I wasn't able to serve those clients as well as I could have, or as great as I can these days, after understanding the value of really customizing a program. And with that experience, what my clients appreciate the most is how I'm able to adapt to what they're experiencing for the day. So, an example of this might be maybe my client comes in today and their back is hurting. Rather than going through the typical program, maybe we spend some time working on those type of things or working those things in that will help minimize the back pain going forward while we're continuing to get a great workout. So this allows me to maximize their time in the gym, allow me to help them feel better and be more customizable in the moment for them, because at the end of the day, we have this body, this great machine that we need to learn how to operate and use it to the very best. Because at the end of the day, I'm not training bodybuilders, but I am building bodies every day. I'm helping people build their bodies so that they could be stronger, faster, and more mobile. So, a lot of times people come to me and they're like Humpty Dumpty. They're wondering if they can be put back together again. You know, and they're clueless, and that's fearful. That can be frightening. If you've been in a state where your body hasn't felt good and you haven't moved it around in a long time, that can be frightening. So then they're like Humpty Dumpty, and they've gone to the king's horses, gone to the king's men. In this case, it could be PT, it could be the doctor, it could be whoever. They've gone to a lot of places to try to get some relief, and a lot of times they are unable to find it. Just like I wasn't able to get relief in my journey and going back and forth to PTs and chiros and pelvic floor um, PTs, all these different doctors, and nothing really changed until I just said, you know what, I'm going to take ownership of my health, my body, and just start working all the way up from the foot, ankle, working on the gut, working on things that were going to help rebuild the nutrients and rebuild the body where things were broken. So, and that's what this is about: getting you to take ownership of your health because you're valuable, you're worth it. So that was number three: learning how to customize an individual program based on what someone might be experiencing at the moment. Um, so Yeah, so they come to me after going to those king's horsemen, king's men, wanting to get back together again, and I get people on the path to mending and feeling better. And it's not that I have all the answers for them, but it's a path of exploration. And my clients and I, we explore their bodies and how they move and how they eat and how they process things together. So it's really a process um, of learning all that. So, and the last thing I'll say about that is after training people in multiple environments, I started at a 24-hour fitness, and then in California, and then from there, Las Vegas, independent gyms, training people in their homes, training people in my garage, training people at multiple locations here in Salem, Oregon. But all these different experiences has allowed me or afforded me the ability to be able to adapt on the fly and create something that's special for each individual client. So to me, it doesn't matter if there's machines around. We have the best machine, and that's what my goal is: to teach you how to use your machine, your body, to the best of its ability. And so that brings me to lesson four. So now that we're learning how to use our body, we don't want to just use these bodies for a long time, for a short time. So lesson four is discuss, the shift that I've made from quick fixes to sustainability. I used to think that, people come to me all the time and they say, what's the fastest way to lose 30 pounds? Or how can I get 20 pounds of muscle on? You think I can do it in a month? You think I can do it in this time? And those goals are great because they're inspiring. They get you energized and get you on the path and moving. But for me, these days, I'm more interested in getting people on the path of longevity for the long haul and the rest of their life, living the rest of their life more healthy, more fit, just like I am, because that's my journey, and I'd like to help people get on that journey and do the same thing. Um, I have a client, Mike Royston. You can check out his story on my website, ritualhealthandfitness.com. But Mike came to me and he wanted to get ripped. He wanted to get a lot of muscle going. And I told him from day one, I said, the one thing that you're going to have to learn about working out is patience. Working out is going to teach you patience. There's no rushing. gaining, more mobility. There's no rushing gaining more flexibility. There's no rushing improving your laboratory values. It's just adopting the principles, the lifestyle, and the habits, the thought patterns, and all of those things that are going to help sustain you for the long haul so that you can not only achieve the body that you want, but maintain it for a long period of time. So to me, health is when getting healthy and maintaining is about having a healthy mind so that you're viewing the world properly, think how you're thinking about yourself. The actions that you're taking on a daily basis is also part of your health. Are you, taking your vitamins? Are you doing your stretching? All of those things are involved in health. Your laboratory values, what's your cholesterol like? What's your blood sugar like? Or are your organs working properly? Are you getting the right nutrients? Are you listening to things that affect your thought patterns in a negative way? All of these things affect your health. So that's why the mind and the body is so intricately connected. And I think of fitness as, what things can you do? Can you run? Can you jump? Can you squat? Can you lift? Are you fit to do your daily activities of living? And for you, maybe that's just simply going for a walk. Maybe it's playing with the grandchildren and being able to get down on the floor. Maybe it's being able to work on a vehicle and getting underneath it and out from underneath it. Sometimes it's just touching your toes and being able to put on your shoes. If you haven't been able to do that in a long time, to be able to get that ability back, that's huge. It's life changing. So, fitness is, what can you do? And we all want to be able to get this function, have this function, and maintain it for a long period of time. So that's why my focus these days is not just on getting people to a point, but it's setting up programs so that they can live in a way that serves them best for a longer period of time. And exercise is one of the few things that the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So the more you put into working out and taking care of yourself and taking your vitamins, you're going to get that much more out of it, because it's truly an investment in you. And it's all about playing the long game, training people to live better, live healthier, and add lean muscle mass, which is decreasing. We often think about just adding muscle as purely aesthetic, but it's also creating decreasing your risk of a disease called sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss. So decreasing that is going to help you function better later in life. And I'm really passionate about helping people do that, through my training in age management medicine. And I've been working on a Otago balance and gait training course, which I'm super excited to be able to help people who are more homebound create, a better lifestyle for themselves by becoming more active. So that is lesson 4. I've personally shifted from just getting into great shape for a short period of time into living a life that's more healthy and vibrant over a period of time. And that brings me to lesson 5, discipline. Discipline. This is a huge one, and discipline to me is about more than physical action. It's about, it's a door to freedom. It's a door to unlocking everything you really want. And being a former Marine Corps is all about discipline. I can remember being in formation, and I went to boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, and it was March through June, so it was getting really hot out there, nearly 100 degrees, and they had these things called sand fleas. And if you've ever been to Parris Island, or you haven't been to Parris Island, you don't know about sand fleas. They are annoying as hell. They're like little flies or gnats, but they get in your ear, they get up your nose, and they itch like crazy. So you want to scratch it, but of course in boot camp you're not allowed to scratch. You have to be at the position of attention the entire time. So we're outside sweating, 90 degrees, drill instructors walking around, and you had these sand fleas, flying on your face, getting in your ear. So you're doing everything you can not to like flinch. So you're trying to blow them off here and there, and and you're also trying to blow without the drill instructor hearing you do it. So after a few seconds of that, you end up eventually getting caught, and before you know it, you see a drill instructor running over there. Get some discipline in your body, recruit. What are you moving around for? Quit blowing, quit scratching, whatever. And they just start yelling at you. but it was all about being disciplined. You know, who cares if you're itching? Who cares if you're scratching? If they're in your nose or in your face, be disciplined. Don't move. Don't flinch. Just stay there. Stay the course, right? And that's what that's about, is staying the course, being disciplined. And discipline, to me, it's transformed a little bit over time. Discipline is very similar to the word disciple. If you know the story and the parable of Jesus and his disciples, not only were they disciplined to follow the tenets he was teaching, but they were also students, and they were students of him. So when it comes to discipline, I'm also referring to becoming a student of yourself, a student of your body. And it's about being a student of yourself. And this is bringing me to the case of, and learning how your body operates. How does it function? How does it move? Is this too tight or is this too loose? When you eat this food substance, what happens? When you don't eat this food substance, how does your body feel? And understanding, the things that you hear and how that affects your emotions, which then may affect your digestion, which then may affect how you feel, which then may affect how you move, or if you decide to move or not. So all these things are very intricately related. And it also is understanding and becoming a student of how you respond in specific situations. And in this case, we're talking more about health and fitness, but it is becoming a disciple or a student of yourself personally. Discipline also is about conserving energy. And I think of it like, let's say, for example, you want to have $1 million someday. Well, some of that, you're not going to necessarily spend your way to $1 million. You're going to invest some. So investing some of your money is like conserving some of your energy, and having the discipline to conserve that energy, it will allow you to then have the freedom in the future to do what you want to do. And working out is a lot like that. If you have the discipline to stay away from certain foods, if you have the discipline to be able to show up for yourself in the gym on 2 or 3 days a week, if you have the discipline to not look at the commercial that has the cheesecake on it that tempts you every time, and then you end up going to the store and getting a cheesecake, those disciplines will help you conserve yourself now so that you can do more of life in the future. So discipline also helps you be set up for the future. Also, discipline means to me like, um, yeah, in your body, right? If you think about your body, it's really like a petri dish. You have this body that's a closed container, and whatever you eat, whatever you listen to, whatever you see, whatever you hear goes into your petri dish. Depending on what that thing does to you, it's going to affect your hormonal state. It could affect your emotional state. It can affect your outlook on life. And all of these things goes into your alchemical pot and creates who you are, which is very unique. And we know this, like, two people can watch the same movie, two people can go to the same place but have very different experiences and outcomes from that same thing. Working out, health and fitness is very similar to that. So we have to learn your body. How do you respond to carbs compared to someone else? How do you respond to 3 days a week of stretching compared to someone else? And this is a very individual thing. That's why discipline, or becoming a disciple of yourself and understanding how you respond, how you feel at certain things, is important. It's important. So it's important. It's more important than just having maybe a cookie cutter program. It's really taking the time to figure out how you respond and what's going to be the best for you. So that is my path, is just to be a guide to help people get on the path in the journey of discovering more of themselves. It said about yoga in the Bhagavad Gita that yoga is a journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Yoga is a journey of the self, to the self, through the self. And also, that word yoga means union. So, what is it talking about? Uniting is the body, the mind, and the spirit. Through union, through exercise, as we bring the breath and the movement together, we're syncing the outside world and inside world together and allowing things to move through the body more freely. And if yoga can connect you to the self, then why not resistance training? Why not understanding your body and how to move it better, even if it's something as simple as a squat or just a plank. All of these things are pathways to self-discovery and learning more about yourself. I remember one of my mentors, Ben Farley. Shout out to Ben Farley if you're out there, man. I haven't seen you or heard from you in 20 plus years, but you said something to me once that stuck with me all these years. And he said to me that, working out or the gym was like his church. It was like his church or his religion. And at first, when he said that to me, I thought he was crazy for one. And two, I was very, I was very new into not being involved in the church myself. So I thought this was a blasphemous statement. Like, how could you say working out is similar to the church? But when you understand that your body is a temple and it houses your soul, then you understand that everything that affects you or this temple or your body where you reside is important. And when you give yourself the reverence and the respect that you truly need and desire, that is like honoring your temple or honoring yourself. And this whole thing of life, the whole thing of working out, in my opinion, is about self-discovery. So through every day, and I'm training my clients, we're learning more about their body, how it responds, how to push it, how to challenge it, how to make it grow, how to pull back on certain things. And it's a learning process that never ends. It never ends. So my goal is just simply to get people on the path of this journey of self discovery through resistance training because it never ends. You can always learn more. I've been a personal trainer for 22 plus years and I see new exercises every day. So if you ever see someone saying to you, this is the only way to do it, run. This is the only way to do it, or you need to stop doing it that way. You should probably run. Because one thing I've learned is that you're never gonna learn it at all. And if you ever run into someone who says they know it all, run because it's always a process of learning that unfolds more and more every day. And that's cool. That's the cool part about my job. Is one of the things I love most. Um, is the new experiences of learning new things and new ways and new techniques to help more people. Which brings me to lesson 6. The biggest difference from me today as a trainer versus 22 years ago is my ability to be able to adapt and meet people where they are. Um, and that's important because, I love the work that I do and I get to learn something new every day, as I said. And with my experiences as a personal trainer, most of the time when I tell people I've been a personal trainer for 20 plus years, they assume that that's probably all I've done. A lot of those years were part time personal training. So throughout that experience, I've learned, I've done other things like, security. I've worked as an emergency medical technician. I've worked as mortgage, doing license as a mortgage lender. I've licensed as an insurance agent, doing annuities and life insurance. Um, I've been worked as in age management medicine, as a field manager in a fire protection agency, doing fire sprinklers and CCTV and those types of things. Of course, my experience in the Marine Corps. And I say all of those things to say that each one of those positions speaks a different language and it allows me to see the world from a different lens. And it also allows me to be able to speak languages that um, allow me to connect more with my clients with all of those different experiences. And that's important because at the end of the day, my job as a personal trainer is to get really personal with someone and guide them on a path to better health and fitness. And this can be exciting. Changing your body can be really exciting. It can be scary. As I mentioned earlier, like it can be really frightening to look at your mortality and think, man, it's all over for me. There's no way I'm going to be able to turn this around. There's no way I'm going to be able to feel better. There's no way I'm going to be able to go up the stairs again. That is a very scary part. And being able to meet someone where they're at is huge. And that's something I'm able to do even better than I could 20 something years ago. just because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what it was like to be a father and try to work out. I didn't know what it was like to run a company and then try to show up at the gym. Those are things you only learn with experience. So we often say this saying, experience is the greatest teacher, but when we really look at it, it truly is. And nothing has prepared me to be more equipped to help my clients and you if you need it right now than my life experience. So yeah, and that's my goal, just to share that with you guys in the hopes that it inspires you to be more of who you are, in the hopes that it inspires you to take action and get more out of life. So, I was talking to my friend Tone. Shout out to Tone. He's up in Beaverton. No, I'm sorry, Newburgh. But Tone and I started personal training together in 2022. We were at the 24-hour fitness in San Diego, California, well, Oceanside, California, which is North San Diego County. And Tone got out of the personal training business a long time ago. He moved up to Oregon. I moved to Vegas, and now we're both in Oregon. And he and I met last night. And he said that he was wondering about how many trainers are still in the business that started with us. How many of our friends are still doing it? And I think we only came up with two, myself and Ben Randall, who was the first fitness manager that I had. Shout out to Ben Randall. He's the one who asked me to start training. And there's not many of us still going. And like I mentioned, I've done a lot of things over the years, but there's nothing like this. I don't really, I mean, it's a job, but it's also a lifestyle. It's also a passion, and not many people stay around. It's a tough business. It's a tough business to be in, because I have the best product in the world. um, I mean, just Google, right? Just Google health and fitness, exercise, and look how many things exercise reduces the risk of having, like cancer, diabetes, high cholesterol, Alzheimer's, um, high blood pressure, stroke, arthritis, you name it. Exercise and nutrition has a pivotal role in reducing risk for all of those. And if not reducing risk, sometimes curing them, making them better, making them go away, increasing people's lifespan in spite of having those diseases. There's nothing better. There's no product on the market better than what I have. And it's one of the hardest things to get people to be convinced of that they need. And it's crazy that I even have to convince people that they need it. um, it's funny that, my wife and I talk about it all the time. She's a school teacher. I'm a personal trainer, you know, and it's crazy when you look at the values of our country, you know, so many different industries, we pay so much money to do certain things. Like, isn't it crazy that someone makes $200 million to bounce a ball, but yet we got teachers struggling? Like I said, shout out to those people and who are doing that. That's not my point to point a finger at them, but it's really to point a finger at the values that we have as individuals to take ownership of our own health and fitness. And that's what Ritual Health and Fitness was about, is to get people to adopt health and fitness as their own individual ritual. And, you know, investing in your time with me is investing back into yourself. One thing, as a personal trainer in this industry for so long, if you're going to survive, generally you're going to have clients that are affluent, clients who are, doctors, lawyers, business owners, athletes, or parents who are willing to spend money on their young athletes. So I have had the opportunity to work with people who are quote unquote very successful. And what I noticed is that they place a very high premium on their health and fitness because they understand that without it, their ability to earn an income is over. Their ability to have a high quality of life is over. Their ability to get up and do the things they enjoy is over. So there's almost nothing more valuable than your health and fitness. Nothing. And that's why I say that, I have the best program available. And throughout my experiences in my own personal life has allowed me the ability to be able to connect with people. And, if you don't train with me, that's great. Just get people started and motivated and inspired to take action for themselves. Because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, this is a path to the self through the self, just like yoga is. Working out, eating well is a path to discover more of you so you can get more out of your life. So that's it. Those are the few things that shaped me. This went on a little bit longer than I thought, but just a quick recap. I mean, you know, no longer looking at those quick fixes. What was it? We had lesson one. I don't work out just for looks anymore. It's all about the internal health. Also, discipline is important. Shifting your focus from quick fixes to long-term sustainability, and the importance of having a customized program just for you, and also my ability to be empathetic and help my clients. Those are some of the ways that my career, my outlook on health and fitness has changed over the years. And I hope that you found this to be inspiring. Hopefully that it motivates you to seek me out if you need help, or motivates you to seek help from someone else if you want to get started, or lastly, seek help or just get started for yourself. Just get started. At the end of the day, it's about getting started. So you see my website here, ritualhealthandfitness.com. Get started. Love to the opportunity to help you out, especially if you're in the Salem, Oregon area. I'm moving to a new location on 2164 Daft Court Street, where we're going to be doing great things, implementing individualized programs so that people can thrive and be the best versions of themselves going forward, and for as long as possible. So that's it. Those are the 6 lessons I've learned. And feel free to share this video with anyone, pass it along. Hopefully, it inspires you to be great. Have an awesome day. Talk to you guys later.